Herbicides are bad because broadleaf plants contain more protein and nutrients than grasses, and herbicides kill broadleaf plants. Also, a lot of the broadleaf plants claim to be poisonous by the herbicide corporations, which are controlling the United States DA, which makes the list of noxious plants, have been lies. They have not been poisonous. I've got every kind of poisonous plant you can imagine here on my land. And I've got all forms of livestock, and had all forms of livestock. They've done very well for me, of course, and for themselves. And I've never lost an animal. And the fact of the matter is, I've never used herbicide, ever. And another reason it's bad is because plants have a symbiotic relationship with each other. And the herbicide companies just love talking about allelopathy, however you want to say the name, it's Latin. Allelopathy is supposedly when plants produce chemical compounds which prevent other plants nearby from growing around them. One they claim of the worst is black walnut. The family Juglone has supposedly a product called Juglone, which is a allelopathic compound which especially prevents nightshade plants from growing around there. But I've grown major good potatoes around my black walnuts. And see here I've got a whole grove of black walnuts. These are kind of young, but they are of bearing age. You see, these are from horses brushing up against them. But they're bearing age black walnuts. And as you can see, I've got Brevesnia growing thick. I've got grasses growing thick. Even under the shade canopy, which is really wonderful. I've got this grass here. And here's a sunflower family plant called hairy leaf overcup, also known as Smolanthus. And I've got blackberries, trumpet vines. I mean, there's a lot of things here that are in the nightshade family as well. This is a nightshade family plant. I can't remember the name of that. But it's not true that nothing will grow around a black walnut, because I'll show you that, which is absolute myth. But it's just more stuff to say, hey, they're allopathic. And then people will help spread the rumor and then help sell the product. Oh yeah, you can't grow anything under them. Here's where I grew a 400-foot row of potatoes before I had these muscadine vines all out in there. There was a 400-foot row of potatoes going right down here under these giant black walnuts. And they grew better right here and had less potato bugs than anywhere else. And I know what I'm talking about. I've done this. And it just disgusts me to see people spraying their farms and destroying everything and getting cancer and dying on me, and also spending all their money. And then also I know that the herbicides are killing the phytoplankton in the ocean. And phytoplankton is the base of all the life, and it's also of the ocean, and it's also the base of our oxygen, because it takes the carbon dioxide and converts it to oxygen. And so it's all done in the ocean, since the ocean is a whole, like 78% of our earth or whatever is ocean. That's where our oxygen is being created. So carbon dioxide levels are rising since the huge amount of herbicide that's being used is killing the phytoplankton. And now we're having these dead zones. And I'm telling you what a dead zone is, the worst thing. It's a new thing that's occurring because the phytoplankton are dying, because they're little plants, or you can call them plant-like, because they're not plants with roots, but they are plants, plant-like. And they feed the fish, that's why they're dying. They make the oxygen. That's why we have what they call hypoxia, which means oxygenless water. And there's been one experiment, probably it was done by Monsanto Herbicide Corporation, but one experiment they paid to have done, and it's all over the internet, and it tells you that phytoplankton die at the mouths of rivers from large amounts of fertilizer nutrients. And when these phytoplankton die, after they bloom and die, they take up all the oxygen rotting away, and that's what kills everything. But farther out to sea, everything is fine, but it's not. That's a lie. The nutrients have always come down the river. There were hundreds of millions of bison up the Mississippi, all along the Great Plains, and their manure got washed down, believe me. And we had tons of things. And now the coral is dying because it feeds on phytoplankton. The fish are dying because they feed on plankton, which feeds on phytoplankton. So there's your story is not right about herbicides being harmless. So, okay, well then look up glyphosate. Okay, that's one of the most commonly used ones, but there's still others. There's hundreds of others. I'm not hundreds, but there's dozens of other chemical compounds that are used as herbicides by all the farming. And it's so prevalent that now they're trying to let, and they may have already started it, organic farmers can now use these herbicides. And your highway department uses it to spray instead of mowing in some places. Mine does. And they come on your own property and spray if there's power lines on your property, like there was on mine till I had some removed. And it's just everywhere. And all your crops are being GMO'd, not so that they can produce more food, but so that the farmer can spray the herbicide product right over the top of his crop, and it won't kill his crop, but it'll kill the weeds. And that's what the GMO is really all about. And you're funding this because they have taken over the United States Department of Agriculture by putting their people in top placement. And every president has helped. Every president has appointed one of their Monsanto guys to jump in front of the USDA. Also other offices. Somebody calls that the Trilateral Convention, or the Trilateral Commission, when corporations get together on the round table and decide it's probably more profitable for them to go ahead and take over one of our government welfare agencies like that. So then they can take advantage of all those subsidies and things. And I farmed in Canada for a while too, and I saw how they would make us use a herbicide product when we didn't even have the weeds, or they won't buy your product anymore. It's all up to the co-op and your buyer, and you have to do it the right way. A Luna moth, what happened to you? This one's a little damaged. Well, I guess you're past the end of your life. Sorry, but